Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, please leave a 5-star review. Got a bunch of stand-up shows coming up. I'm going to be back with Comedians of the Compound February 26th at Governor's in Levittown, Long Island. Then I'm heading to Savannah, Georgia on March 19th. That's the Wormhole Comedy Club. Then I will be in Florida. I'll be in Tampa, Florida on March 20th at Side Splitters Club over there. So excited to do all these shows. The album is coming together. I think it will be ready sometime next month. I will let you guys know as soon as it's available for pre-order. I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna be pretty funny. It's gonna be my first album ever. So you guys better pre-order it. And if you don't, I'm going to say that you hate women or something. No, I'm kidding. I would never do such a thing. Yeah, very, very exciting stuff. Got a lot of projects up in the air. I think I'm actually going to be hosting the Odyssey Games coming up the first weekend of February. I'll be hosting with Lauren Southern. So when I have details for that, where to tune in, I will post them everywhere. Odyssey.com. Odyssey.com. Well, there we go. I don't have the exact time details, but yeah, of course, they'll be on Odyssey.com's singular. Guys, we've seen so many people making ridiculous money from crypto. Hey, maybe some of you guys that are listening have made ridiculous money from crypto. But did you know that it's easy for you to do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't have to know a thing about crypto or a thing about investing. You just do what he does. So let me tell you a little bit more about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 15,000 subscribers and 1 million views. Since March of 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put in $100 to each one, it would now be worth over 66K. That's pretty incredible. Of the 26 coins, his top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, is currently up around 440 times from where he started. That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys and girls in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is all public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this for yourself. If you'd like to join the 1,300 members who copy James and stop what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/Mayr, that's spelled Mayr. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but my listeners can get full access for just $1. You won't find this offer anywhere else, but you have to act quickly because this is a special New Year's offer and it will expire soon. That's copymycrypto.com/Mayr. Don't take this offer lightly. He's the real deal. Visit the site now. Or for $1. I mean, why not? Why not? Go for it. Okay, guys, he's back. He's back on the pod and he's got an impressive new book to promote, which I'm so excited to talk about. He's back. He's my favorite. He's a writer. I guess I like to refer to him as like kind of like tabloids, but for the good guy. And we enjoy shitting on woke Hollywood together. Christian Toto, how are you? Also the lead singer of the band Toto, of course. Yeah.
Thank you, of course.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it.
I really wanted to play Africa. Do you get that a lot?
All the time.
You're like, I am sick of it. Please
And when
stop.
we do radio shows, half the time that's the intro music. So you got to roll with it.
It's so catchy. I
Mhm.
don't know why. My
I'm very
friend Brittany
proud.
Venti like really hates the song, but it makes me, I don't know. I kind of like it even more now.
Mhm.
So, my gosh, you have a new book, your first baby book,
Right.
Virtue Bombs. It's out now. It's available right
Right.
now for purchase.
Yes, it is. Took a while, and this is my first book, and it takes a whole process just to get from A to B to C. And what's interesting is that I filed this a while ago, and there's a little part of me that thought, you know what? If the whole woke situation gets better by the time this book comes out, I'm okay. I won't sell any books, but it'll be a better world. But that's not the world we're living in. So, that it is what it is. It's gotten crazier.
When did you start writing this book?
Probably late last year. and spend a few months on it. And I've updated things here or there along the way during the publication route, which was helpful. But I mean, there's certain newer stuff that's not in here, but the thread of it is all here. The virtue signaling, the identity politics, the attacks on comedians, the squelching of free speech. It's all here. And I try to write it in a kind of a lively way because it can be kind of depressing at times, but I want to have a little fun with it too and kind of poke the bear, as it will.
This is great. I'm just gonna read the description for this. Hollywood's dream factory is now a nightmare of woke restrictions, identity politics run amok, and freedom snuffing new rules and regulations. The Oscars are unwatchable, as are many films and television shows, thanks to the woke revolution. Virtue Bombs break down where Hollywood went so wrong, illustrates the slow motion disaster infiltrating the industry, and offers a glimmer of hope for a woke free tomorrow. Award-winning film critic Christian Toto has all the receipts, showcasing Hollywood's virtue signaling follies and how it could get much, much worse before it gets better. Ooh, that sounds a little dark. It's a cool 240 pages. So this is something you could bang out in like a week or two. I don't know. I don't know how fast you guys read.
Yeah, and it's chapter by chapter, so you can kind of dig in, enjoy a few chapters, and take a break from it because it can be a little overwhelming sometimes, just sort of the whole scope of this. But again, I trying to keep it light as well, and there is some hope. The last chapter really kind of delves into what we can do next and how we can help the situation because we're not helpless. We're this is our culture. We can fight back.
And Andrew Klavan wrote the foreword. Ooh.
Love me some Andrew Klavan. I've been following him for a long time. He's been very kind to me over the years. And when I thought about this book, I thought, who else would I want to write the foreword was Andrew. And he said yes pretty much right away. So I'm so pleased that he was able to kind of contribute to the book, and he wrote a great foreword.
And Amazon thinks that you should buy his book together with yours.
Oh, that makes sense, right?
When Christmas Comes, a Yuletide Mystery.
Which is very good, by the way. It came out just a few months ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset that you didn't ask me to write your foreword, Christian.
Well, you're in the book, so I couldn't do double duty.
Oh my God, I'm in the book.
Right.
I mean, we're not here to talk about me. We are, but we don't want to do that first because then that's obvious. When did you start? So when were the seeds planted for this book? Like, when did you first realize, or what event made you realize, like, okay, this is officially something we have to pay attention to. I want to write a book about all this bullshit.
I was talking to someone behind the scenes at the publisher that I eventually worked with, some related topic, and he said to me, we should work on a book together. I thought, well, that's very flattering, but I never written a book. What would I do? And then I thought about it. Well, what else would I do? I mean, I write about this topic all the time, day and night. I'm obsessed with it, and for good reason. It's crushing Hollywood. And end of the day, I love what I do. I love reviewing movies. I get to talk to actors sometimes, talk to people like yourself. So it's fun. It's exciting. It's why I steered my career in this bizarre direction. But this is really ruining it. It's making it less fun. It's obviously making the finished product less enjoyable. And I have to say, I know writing this technically was hard work, but it all flowed. It was all kind of top of mind. So just kind of corralling it and putting it all together.
Was there, I guess, like, what was the first event, or what was the first sign that you like, or event that happened that made you realize, like, I need to start writing about this?
I think it's a bunch of events. I think it's, I used to love watching the Oscars, and now I dread it. I have to watch it because it's my job, but it's just, this show is terrible. And then I just kept hearing about these comedians who were getting in trouble for jokes, either jokes they were telling last week or jokes they told a decade ago. And I thought, that's wrong. And these are comedians. These are not politicians. They're not running for office. They're not shaping public policy. And at the end of the day, a bad joke is just a bad joke. It doesn't. I don't have a knife in my back because of it. It doesn't inspire things. I don't think. I think that whole line of reasoning is just nonsense. So when comedians can't be funny, that's an issue. And I remember years ago reading about Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and thinking about all the things they went through to get us to this point where we can just say what we want to say. And we're backpedaling now. And no one's getting arrested for comedy. You just get your career ruined.
And it really is like the beginning of thought police. Like, when you are telling people you can't laugh at a certain thing, you can't make jokes about certain things. Well, now you're telling what comes after that. Like, well, you can't even think certain things. Like, you can't or even like joke around amongst friends. Like, where does it end? Can you, be I guess you can be fired from your job, but it's like if you're just doing like water cooler talk or you're just talking on a corner, can cops be like break it up or taking you in?
I told my son
Street
recently,
jokes. I don't know.
I said, and the guy was fired for saying all lives matter. It was a sports broadcaster. He lost his job for saying that. And my son was like, what? I said, no, because it is that crazy. And again, this is Hollywood. You get, just a bunch of celebrities. Who cares? They're rich. They're famous. Who cares if they have to do like the hostage apology and embarrass himself and grovel? But what happens in Hollywood kind of seeps into the rest of the culture. I mean, we've seen that with college universities and all the woke stuff going on there and how it bleeds into our daily lives. It's the same thing with Hollywood. If you're a comedian who can tell a joke, what if you're a postman? What if you said something a little bit racy or a little bit edgy to one of your colleagues behind the scenes, maybe in the break room, and all of a sudden you're called in and you're talking to HR about your job and your future? These things are real. They're happening. And, so I cover Hollywood. I've got to cover it from that perspective.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about this. I was covering for Anthony Cumia on the Anthony Cumia show, shameless plug on the Compound Media Network. And this was one of the stories that we were talking about, and I'll bring it up now because it's like it applies. This is Mexican teacher tells joke about Jews in oven to students, and this was reported as an anti-Semitic incident.
Uh-huh.
Of course, they have to throw that up there. It's like a Nazi armband. It's like the joke is this. Okay, for the guys that aren't seeing this, the video version, this is the joke that this woman told to her class, her Zoom class, that got her into so much trouble. What is the difference between a pizza and a Jew? A pizza doesn't scream when it's put into the oven.
Wow.
This is a street joke. This is hilarious. It's like there's no way that this teacher came up with this. And the fact that you can't even, was a little bit out of place for a teacher to a Zoom class, probably, but it's not worth I wouldn't consider it an anti-Semitic incident. So and there's a video of this where actually some of the students are laughing at the joke. So and that's the thing. That's what this whole woke culture has done. The small example is this let me see if I can play a little bit.
Está duro, pongan atención.
Okay, it's not
¿Qué
in English.
diferencia hay entre una pizza y un judío?
Wow. I think maybe working
Do you
as a
speak
delivery
Spanish,
boy?
Christian?
Un poquito.
Un poquito. I speak even less of a poquito. Like, and I took Spanish through college, and I was like, oh wow, I don't understand anything.
Nada.
De nada is nothing, right?
¿No? Que la pizza no grita cuando la meten al horno.
See, and people laughed, and this is what woke culture destroys. Let's say 2 people laughed. Let's say, I don't know, 4 or 5 people were neutral, and 1 person was like, I'm horrified. This actually is not a net negative situation. This is like maybe a slightly positive situation, but it's the 1 person that didn't get the joke or didn't appreciate the joke. They get to ruin it, not only for everybody in this class, but for this poor teacher who's just trying to liven up her Zoom class.
It is Zoom. You got to do something. You got to pull out.
It's Zoom. Everyone's checked out. It's like what these teachers have to do to try to keep their students engaged. The virtual learning, like it's bad. It's definitely not as good as in-person class. And it's like they're probably all falling asleep. And she's like, you know what? I got this great joke about Jews going into ovens. I gotta do this today.
Brought out her A game. What can you do?
Yeah, and this is like in a sense what wokeism does to comedy. I mean, I wouldn't say this Zoom teacher, you know what I mean? She's just trying. That's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to do our best. You don't have to be a professional comedian to care about free speech and comedy. It's the whole part. Oh, we can't joke around anymore. It's like people like to joke around.
Yeah. But by the way, one of the things that's interesting about the whole woke situation is that sometimes it is one voice, one person complaining who gets everyone in trouble. And I'll give you a couple examples. The LA Times had an op-ed about how, we shouldn't have Gone with the Wind, or Gone with the Wind should have a warning label, because it didn't depict the horrors of slavery like it should have. And it was a product of the time for sure. And then HBO Max pulled Gone with the Wind for a while from the service. And then more recently, Peter Dinklage, a great actor, he's I hope I have this correct. I think he's a little person. I don't know what the correct version.
He is a smaller, yeah, he's not
Right.
a man of size, right? How do we say this in a politically correct way? He is a midget. Yes.
I don't know. I'm not even sure that's the correct term. It could be dwarfism.
Dwarf.
But
Right.
we're trying to be careful. But
Okay.
he came out and said that, you know, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, that how when they made a recent film of that, they did a live action adaptation of that. And he said, you know, it was very progressive in this way. And then you get a bunch of dwarf characters. And now Disney's like, well, we may rethink this whole property just because one actor who happens to be of that community complained, one person. And this has been around for what, 50, 60, 70 years?
1937, I think the film originally came out.
Right.
And I was talking about this story as well. And I think Hollywood, it's like you only get as much work as you are seen or see yourself as a victim.
Oh, yeah.
And it used to be, oh, I'm differently abled. I don't know, I'm a champion for midgets everywhere. And he crushed it. Game of Thrones, like had he been a full-sized man, would he have been as successful? Would he have gotten as much work? Would he have been as noticeable? Who knows? It seems like he's just kind of making a stink about this because he wants to be brought on as a consultant. I think that's what he's angling here. He wants to be involved.
Well, you know, I talked to Nick Searcy a while ago, and he said something that really rings true. A lot of times when these actors are speaking in wokies, they're basically not really reaching out to you or I. They're speaking to their fellow colleagues, directors, actors, producers, and basically saying, "I'm one of you. You can."
Yes.
You know, it's sort of like I'm in the club. It's very. I wouldn't disagree with Nick.
It is absolutely such a huge virtue signal. And it's like everything that I'm bringing up about, because I know John Leguizamo, he had kind of like I don't even know if it was viral, but he was in the news for being like pro CRT, or it was like this kind of rant on social media saying, oh, you don't even know what CRT is. And it's exactly what you're explaining, Christian. It's like they're sending out their own bat signal just to let people know, hey, I'm woke, I'm hireable, I'm not busy right now, like I'm on the right side of things. Come and get me, Hollywood. Like, come and get me, producers.
It's so true. It really
is a little sad, honestly.
You know, it is sad, but when you think about Hollywood, it's so competitive. On the very best of days, it's super competitive. And now with all these different platforms, with cancel culture, I think most actors are just running scared. And even the bigger stars, they feel insecure. They could be next. Their next job could go away. You know, you have a couple flops in a row, and all of a sudden the phone stops ringing, so or buzzing, as it were. So I think that is part of it. That they're getting on the radar. They want to get that publicity, and the press is all too happy to kind of share these stories and kind of champion them. Like, oh yes, you're right. Of course, good for you.
Leguizamo is what if you Google him, if you search his name, like he is one of these celebrities that I guess his PR people or his marketing squad, like they know to just make some noise every once in a while. And this is absolutely the game. We see Kathy Griffin doing this too. Like, oh, I'm still such a victim. I did a video on it a little while back. Like, you know, she does this once a year. She's still such a victim. She's still so canceled and blackballed from Hollywood. She can't get any work. I'm like, are you kidding me? I bet everybody was in her DMs like, way to go. But then publicly they have to be silent. But it's like, she's not, you know what I mean? That wasn't a hot take. That was, everyone agreed. Everyone in Hollywood agreed with her holding up the bloody Trump head. They just couldn't really admit to it in public. But she has been ostracized from shit. She's had like a really long, fulfilling career.
Yeah, and she should try being funny, because she. I mean, I saw her live years ago, and I met her backstage. She was very nice and charming, and I remember thinking, just she seemed very self-effacing, very comical. She had a real kind of a distinct kind of act, very tabloidy, very kind of pop culture driven. And I don't remember, like, I don't know when she's made me laugh in the last 5-6 years. Although I think her apology was pretty funny, the one that she rescinded 5 minutes later. I think that made me laugh.
She couldn't have been less sincere. Yeah, and this is John Leguizamo letting everybody know that even though he's so successful, this is all about him looking for work, but he has to let everybody know that he's had it hard. And he talks about like years and years ago, he's talking about an old story. Leguizamo, in one account that he shared with the host, Leguizamo alleged that a director fired him from a film when a Latin actress was hired because they couldn't have 2 Latin people in the movie. It's like, well, okay. I mean, and now it's the exact opposite in 2022. So it's like we're bringing this up just so we can write an article about you, just so you can do more of this virtue signaling.
Yeah. And by the way, that basically says that Hollywood was racist at the time, and Hollywood is busy calling us racist, but it's actually you guys, kind of clean up your own house.
Hollywood has no virtues, no morals. They don't care. They all want to just keep each other in work. They want to do whatever sells.
Mhm.
They're going to do much like our government, much like our quote scientists. They are going to do whatever just keeps them in business and keeps them famous and in the spotlight for as long as possible. It's not about helping anybody out. It's just these people are so phony.
Yeah. I have a whole chapter on Me Too and how when Me Too first happened after Weinstein fell, Harvey Weinstein, the producer, it seemed like a good thing. Like there are guys who do bad stuff and they should be caught and they should be held accountable and they should stop. And like who wouldn't agree with that? It's amazing, right? That should be a cultural thing happening where we kind of get these guys and they pay for what they've done. And then Hollywood says, okay, well, if you're Joe Biden, we're going to look past you. And if you're a Democrat, we're going to
right.
But if you're a conservative, Brett Kavanaugh with the flimsiest of evidence against you, Amy Schumer gets herself arrested for it. Where is Amy Schumer now? Did she ever speak out about Cuomo or Biden and all the allegations against them? They're phonies. I mean,
she became very quiet. Yeah.
Whisper quiet.
Yeah. This is sad that I don't remember. I interviewed this woman who Biden sexually harassed. She worked for the Tara Reid, of course.
Yeah.
Did
you speak to her?
I did. I had her
Wow.
I had her on a podcast. She was quite a get. Yeah. I think I had her on. Yeah, definitely before the inauguration.
Yeah.
And everyone's done a really good job of keeping that quiet.
Oh, when that story broke, it was in maybe conservative media. The mainstream media, it might have been a full month. I remember thinking, when are they going to cover this story? It's out there. We know about it. And of course, they did it very carefully, very gingerly. They treated her as if she was maybe not telling the truth. And then Christine Blasey Ford, with her accusations against Kavanaugh, I mean, she didn't know anything, where or when or how or who, or no corroborating evidence. And she was, like, you have to believe her, believe all women. And then Alyssa Milano came out and said, when we said believe all women, we didn't really mean that exactly. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm reminded of like the George Carlin bit. I think he was possibly talking more about government and the powers that be, but he said like, oh, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And I think of that every time I think of Hollywood. I was just like, yeah, if you are not repeating the message that has been, checked by everyone, the approved messaging, you can't go off script. You can't really have independent thought. You can't have critical thinking. And it's like, who wants to work in that industry? Like it's like, I don't know. They must themselves not care as much about their own independent thoughts. They just, I guess, want to be famous, want attention, want to be actors. They're just that they think of themselves as a vessel. They don't care what they're saying or what. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. There's something like a little kind of desperate about that.
Chrissie, you're a comedian. And do you watch a Jimmy Kimmel and you see what he says? Does it make you feel bad for him? Like, is there a part of you that just thinks, oh my God, you sold out. You're
for sure.
You're not a comedian anymore.
Because I loved The Man Show. I absolutely loved The Man Show. Girls jumping on trampolines, brilliant, simple. Who's going to have a problem with that?
Yep.
And just to see the difference in directions that Kimmel and Adam Carolla have gone in, and like Kimmel completely sold out, and it looks more phony coming from him because it's like, yeah, I can't unsee what I saw you as in The Man Show. And whereas Adam Carolla impressively has sort of stayed true to who he is, I think he's one of the funniest stand-up comics right now. I really respect him, and not just for, well, mostly for his like handling of COVID. For me, that's kind of like made or braked a lot of make or braked a lot of comics, how they've dealt with the last 2 years. And I was opening for Carolla in Appleton, Wisconsin in May, and I just left. He's like, I'm not really big into soap culture, washing hands. He's like, I'm shaking hands, I'm eating, I'm licking my hands. Like, he was so funny about it. And I'm like, yeah, this guy has the right idea. He loves his fans. He wants to meet he wants to meet the people. He's not like too good to shake hands and say hello after a show. And I was like, man, I really respect this guy. And he's so funny, and he didn't have to sell out. I mean, I bet he makes pretty good money being himself. And now he's got I think he's got a show on the Daily Wire. I think he's just been doing great.
Yeah.
And
there's a part of me that likes the fact that he and Kimmel are still very good friends by all accounts. And I like the fact my wife's a Bernie bro, and we're still married. So, I want us to be in a place where we can not just castigate other people for political differences. By the same token, I would think that Adam Carolla is biting his lip pretty hard when they're having some conversations, or even when he's watching his buddy host Jimmy Kimmel Live, thinking, man, how far is he falling? What's going on? What's in his head? Is the money worth it? Who knows?
You really have to be a slave. It's like you're committing to a life of being a slave. And even if he were to like have a breakdown and be like, I can't do this anymore. It's like, well, now you do anything else, or you do something closer to your real personality. Now you look like a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Even if you are being yourself, who can trust you? So it really does just pay to be who you are up front. It's better for maintaining fans in the long term. I think it's just better all around.
Can you imagine if he spent one monologue just blasting President Biden for the entire, 8 minutes, whatever it is, just joke after joke after joke, really hard-hitting stuff? It would be a sensation. It would crack the news cycle. He might even lose his job. I mean, there'd be such a disconnect between his fans, the network, his persona. It would be fascinating to watch, even just as a thought experiment, what would happen.
And it wouldn't take much for it to be very noticeable.
Oh.
Like, I've been listening a lot more to like Jimmy Dore, and I really respect him. Like he's talking common sense, but it's coming out of the mouth of someone who's like, a known kind of registered Democrat and all that, like a known liberal. And you're just like, oh wow, like we need more voices like his. And even just to take cracks, make jokes at Biden, they'd be like, oh my God, you don't even have to be that crazy.
Yeah. I think I didn't read the whole story. Fox News just ran basically a little research piece. They looked at the last year of Saturday Night Live, comparing how many times they poked fun at Biden versus how they poked fun at Trump, even Obama. And the results, I don't even have to say the results. You know exactly what they are. But it's great for anyone to kind of really put it in one piece and say, look, it's just hands off now, guys. It's so obvious what they're doing. It's a shame. They're really ruining legacies. I was a huge Howard Stern fan for decades. I just love the guy. And the Howard Stern of 2022,
he's a hot mess. I still maintain that the perm chemicals have gone to his brain. Like there's no other way for me to explain what's happened to him.
Nothing, but he has lost it. And listen, the Howard Stern of 20 years ago would just absolutely skewer this guy, because they may look the same, but they're not the same.
And what do you attribute this to, Christian? Because my idea is that there's kind of a risk, but this doesn't happen to everybody. It didn't happen to Joe Rogan. Like I was saying, like, is there a risk to becoming so rich and famous and successful? Like you actually have the luxury of getting out of touch and staying out of touch, because like your lifestyle no longer depends on you being on the pulse of what real people think.
I think for years and years, the press hated Howard Stern, hated him. He was the enemy. He was a monster. And I think deep down inside, he always wanted to be liked by the media and by the culture. And I think at some point he thought, I can kind of just start agreeing with them, and then I'll get some good press. And he's gotten much more favorable press in the last 2 years than ever before. I think that's part of it. I think, as you get older, you just don't have the edge you once did. You don't have fire in your belly that you once did. And he can just be safe. And the fact that he's forgotten all his free speech battles, that's the one that really sticks in my craw. Because he was the guy just sticking it to the man. I want to fight the FCC. I want to say what I want to say. And now he doesn't even dance near the edge. He's safe. He's boring. He's predictable. And when someone does sort of push the boundaries, he's pushing back on them. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's almost like he got in with all the celebrities. He's got in with like the most high level, elite levels of Hollywood, and it's like it's like weird. He has like a sort of I've crossed the finish line
That's right.
energy to him, and I'm like, is that what we're all destined for? I hope not. That sucks.
Years ago, John Hughes, the great director, was Ferris Bueller's Pretty in Pink, all these great movies, and then his movies started to get a little less exciting, a little less funny, and he quit. He retired. He just went off, and he tragically he died fairly young. But I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great for Howard Stern to say, my fastball's got nothing on it, man. I'm out. I did what I wanted to do. I've got tons of money. I don't want to kind of crap on my legacy. I'm just going to just go paint and go hang out with my wife or something like that. But he wants to cash those huge checks, and he's just a shell of himself. It's sad to see. I think his legacy is being torn down as we speak.
Did you I'm sure you noticed what happened with Gina Carano getting fired from Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Was that at all part of your book?
It's an entire chapter.
Ooh, does she know? I love Gina.
I met her once, and I think I tweeted it out to her, but she was a sweetheart when I met her, just an amazing person. And actually, there's an excerpt from my book at Real Clear Politics. It's not all that chapter, but enough of it. So if you're curious about it, but I call it the Ballad of Gina Carano. It is an amazing story. And one of the many things that is left, I don't want to say left unsaid, but is not spoken enough, is that Hollywood feminists just abandoned her. They didn't stick up for her. They didn't fight for her. She was all alone. And, good for the Daily Wire for swooping in and saying, hey, let's make a movie together, which is what they just did. So, conservatives, the evil, rotten, women-hating conservatives, they're the ones that rode to her rescue. And she is really a cool person. And I'm excited for her future. And I just think it's great that she was uncanceled. It's amazing.
It is really great. And I wonder if it's inspired more kind of Hollywood types, because this came out today. This all came out because Evangeline Lilly was recently at the anti-mandate protest in DC. I feel like FOMO. I feel like I should have been there. This is at a Huffington Post. Evangeline Lilly says that she attended, of course they call it an anti-vaxxer rally, because she's pro-choice. So already the title is like very shitty. The actor who went to the event where RFKs made wild claims about vaccines, and they don't even say what the so-called wild claims are in this headline.
That's a media trick, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. They did with Gina Carano. So they would say, someone would say, oh, she said something outrageous on social media, but they often, not always, but they often wouldn't say what it was. They would say, oh yeah, she said something outrageous, or Disney called what she said anti-Semitic. Well, what was anti-Semitic about it?
Oh, that's so gross. It's like all they need is a big name to slap on top of it. Well, Disney said it was anti-Semitic, so that's good enough for us. We don't have to look into it.
Yeah. But Disney is dancing with genocidal countries, by the way. They love playing footsie with China, but they don't want Gina Carano's tweets. That's a bridge too far.
Right. And Evangeline Lilly said that nobody should ever be forced to inject their body with anything. I don't know. Sounds kind of level-headed to me.
Yeah. It's an opinion.
Yeah, and she posted on Instagram, and this is like how you know, that's how you know you've made it, where like your Instagram post, results in this whole article. She was in Washington to support bodily sovereignty and believes nobody should ever be forced to inject their body with anything against their will or under any threat whatsoever. This is not the way. This is not safe. This is not healthy. This is not love. I understand the world is in fear, but I don't believe that answering fear with force will fix our problems. I was pro-choice before COVID. I kind of like that she's saying pro-choice, because I think it maybe would force feminists to reevaluate. I was pro-choice before COVID, and I am still pro-choice today. Her post did not mention some of the more outlandish claims that came out of the rally. Yeah, why? Is it her job to report on every aspect of the rally? She can go to a thing, have her experience, and talk about her experience alone.
Do I have to agree with every sentiment that was shared on the stage that day?
Yeah, by everybody there. But they're using this as an excuse to rope RFK into this article. And I don't even think that this was from the most recent. Was it? I don't know. What he actually said, that anti-vaxxers have it worth. I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they're paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And again, you have to click on so many articles to get to a place where you're actually getting a direct quote from him.
Yeah, I don't like Nazi analogies in general, so I'm not a huge.
No, it's unnecessary. It's
Yeah.
dramatic.
But
Not.
I think we spent 4 years hearing them almost daily
Oh,
from Hollywood and
absolutely.
media, so.
Yeah, I feel like they've lost meaning. I think I am definitely sick of
Yeah, but it's going to be very
comparing.
interesting to see what happens to her over the next couple of days. I mean, the media is going to absolutely just slam her, and they're going to frame what she says inaccurately. They're going to say that she's anti-vax. I mean, I think she's more about the mandates than anything else.
Absolutely, but they won't let somebody be, even someone who's gotten the jab, they won't even let them be anti-mandates. It's
Yeah,
like they wanna slap a label on you altogether. It doesn't matter any nuance in your opinions, doesn't matter if you got it or didn't get it. Just because 'cause you're against, mandates, the government coercion,
yeah.
threat of losing your job, oh, that makes you some kind of crazy anti-vaxxer. It's wild. It's really wild. This is how they use, shaming and social pressure to get people to comply.
It's amazing, and I think what the scary thing now, and it sort of dovetails into the woke revolution, is this censorship drive. It's misinformation. I could put on CNN right now and see buckets of misinformation in about a good half hour, and no one complains about that. The View is misinformation central. It's the
The
dumbest show
View,
in the
they're
history of
idiots.
mankind.
Oh my god, nobody's calling them out. They're actual
So
morons.
ill-informed, and they're crying about this misinformation. It's all a charade. And Joe Rogan has different opinions on it. I don't agree with everything he says. Maybe every guest is not fully vetted, or but at the end of the day, he is a comedian doing a podcast, and it's up to the listener to say, okay, I agree with that, I disagree with that, or I'm going to do my own homework. We're not babies, we're not simpletons. We have our own autonomy, and we should be able to figure out what's right and wrong and make decisions for us. But they don't want to do that. Listen, I knew Joe Rogan was going to be under significant attack in 2022. I didn't expect it from this
Mhm.
soon in this way, but that's what they're going to jump on.
Wow. And it's also just like people are taking The View a bit too seriously. Like they're giving these ladies like a lot of attention, a lot of PR. Like I'm just trying to share this one article here and it's like who gives a fuck what Joy Behar thinks? Like she used to be a comedian at one point. This is out of the Daily Beast. The View jokes that Fox could fire Peter Doocy for accepting Biden apology. And that's the thing is like Biden gets to call him like a son of a bitch, but now it's somehow Doocy's fault.
Yeah. And there were celebrities cheering on Biden for that stupid comment too. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, but just comparing it to how they treated Trump, and it was this attack on journalism cannot stand the free space, the free press is so important, and then Biden does something untoward and like, well,
Right.
it's Biden being Biden, or good for him. Go, Joe.
You go, Joe. Yeah, I understand. Like you're president, you're gonna lose your patience
Yeah.
probably pretty often, and I think a lot of these guys in the press room, they wanna ask hard questions, but
Well,
I
not
think
now. They did 4 years ago.
right, yeah, now it's literally just Doocy. Yeah,
Mr. President, what flavor of ice cream did you have today? Well,
get out of here.
that's a tough one. I'm glad you asked.
Go ask Corn Pop.
I miss corn pop.
I think your book is really it's really important, and I think it's a sign of something really important because all I know is kind of like the comedy world, but to me it seems like Hollywood and comedy have always been kind of side by side because a lot of comedians end up going Hollywood and Hollywood ends up sometimes casting, comedians in
Oh yeah.
comedic acting roles, of course, but this is a sign that, like, yes, it is possible to pursue the arts, to pursue acting, to pursue comedy, and it's like you don't have to go this way. Like you can be your own person, you can be a free thinker and like, the road to Hollywood or Comedy Central or Netflix, it's truly not the only path. Like you can go around it. You can be who you are, express yourself, and you can find your people. You can find your audience and your fan base. And then from there you can, yeah, get with the Daily Wire or produce your own shows. I mean, look what like Tim Dillon, Andrew Schultz, I always like using them as examples of
Yeah.
people who didn't necessarily get past at the Comedy Cellar or go the kind of through the natural regular gatekeepers of comedy. They really broke the mold, and it's very inspiring to see that somebody like me who's behind them, like looking forward, going, okay, wow, this is really possible. Like I don't have to kiss the ass of the Colbert Booker to kind of make it.
I got to know Tyler Fischer a little bit. I met him on the
He's
Gina
great.
Carano movie
Yeah.
shoot. He's so funny, so talented. I think this movie's going to make him a big star. And
I hope so too.
he talked about his journey and the self-doubt he had, and the fact that he was told that as a white male comic, I can't. What can I get for you? His representatives would say, "Listen, I got nothing. I'm not trying to be mean, but I can't get you work." And he
He's so good. Have you seen him on Chicago? What was it? Chicago MD? He played a jockey who was anorexic. And I was like, this is great. Like what a perfect role for a guy who's not that tall.
But I mean, he at one point I think he could have gone in the other direction or just quit and maybe given up on comedy. But he persevered, and he seems stronger today. He seems more empowered. I know it's kind of a bit of a buzzword for the left, but truly empowered. And I think
empowerment is kind of a female word, Christian.
Sorry. He's in touch with his feminine side, but
yeah.
I just, I think he's got a brighter future now because of this. And he's a talented guy. He should be heard, and he's killing it with his podcast and his viral videos. I saw a little bit of him on that Terror on the Prairie movie when they were shooting it. I think it's going to be the first movie of many for him or something. It's just good to see someone stick by their beliefs, not stand down, and then thrive.
Yeah. And not get scared and then backtrack, and then you compromise who you are and your kind of your soul a little bit just to pay your bills, just to work.
Yeah. I'm sure as a younger comedian, you always want to say, God, if I can get on SNL, that would be the ultimate.
Yes, of course. And you have idiot family members being like, have you ever thought of calling up SNL and asking them for a job? And you're like, well, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dear, can you patch me up with Lorne Michaels?
Yeah.
Would you want to be on that show today? That's an embarrassing show.
No. I mean, first of all, they would never have me. Second of all, I'm sure there's cast members and writers who are like creatively stifled, whether they're stifling themselves or those around them are kind of pressuring them out of certain ideas. But I think it's more so they've just hired a very specific type of person.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what's the point of having a writing crew? What's the point of having 20 people on the writing crew if they all kind of have the same idea?
The show looks more diverse than ever, and good for them. It's not intellectually diverse at all.
No,
it's all
not at all. That's very cool that I wanted to talk about that a little more. So you went out to visit the set of Terror on the Prairie when they were shooting this out in Montana.
That's right.
Last year. Why did you go out there?
Well, they invited me, and I was curious about it. And it was a really freeing experience. There was such joy in the set. People were happy. People were smiling. And Nick Searcy was there, and he's just having a grand time. And it just felt very free. And I had good conversations with the people there. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I hope it's a good film. It looked interesting when I saw of it. But these are rebels. These are people who are just out there. And you know what? This is not a politically charged Western, I don't think. It's just a Western. Just a bunch of actors and people who write movies and direct movies and gather around stunt people, making something and not having to worry about what's behind their back or what did they say or what's on social media. They're just making a movie. It's the way it should be.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. Do you know anything about the plot or
Gina Carano plays a kind of a basic prairie woman. I think her family is under attack. I don't think she's a warrior. I think she's kind of a regular person, but I think she has to summon her inner strength. That's the sense I get, just based on the basic premise. But they haven't given out too much information. We don't hire Gina Carano to be like Shrinking Violet, like,
right.
Oh, please save me.
It'd be so funny if it's just like an old school Western, but it's like, yes, I'm being canceled. I need a man to help me. That's my idea of a Western.
What's my julep? It's funny. Daily Wire has 3 movies coming soon.
Wow.
Actually, the first one was already out, Run, Hide, Fight. And each of them had 3 strong female leads. Again, conservatives hate women, but those movies have 3 strong female leads. They're not woke. It's just about really good characters. That's great.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Do you think so? So in your book, you talk about how the Oscars are unwatchable. Like, what would it take for Hollywood to come back? Is this something you explore in the book?
I don't think they would or will. I think there's one quick solution this year because we're still a few weeks away. Hire either Ricky Gervais or Dave Chappelle and say, you're the host. You do whatever you want. You say whatever you want. We don't want you to curse, or we can even bleep you out. Just go for it. Now, if you spread the word about that, the audience would double in a heartbeat. But you know what? They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't dare do that. They are afraid of jokes. They're afraid of jokes at their own expense. They're afraid of jokes that's going to make Hollywood look silly, even though it would double the ratings. Guarantee it. So I think they know in ways how to fix it. That particular telecast, they don't want to. They have no interest in it.
It's like, right, they don't wanna do anything that's gonna make them look bad, even if it is to their benefit, meaning increased ratings. Yeah.
That would be goodwill. Like, I'm very critical of Hollywood, even though I've basically shaped my career covering it. And now, if they hired a Ricky Gervais or a Dave Chappelle, it would have such a, like, oh man, I know I'm critical of Hollywood, but that took guts, man. I like that. I can't wait to see it. That's a cool move. And I think it would have it would give people a chance to reconsider Hollywood as an industry, just a little bit. And
Absolutely.
every little bit helps.
Yeah, look at the effect, like any really good roast that we've seen over the years. It like the person who's roasted it kind of endears you to them a bit. You're like, oh, they're being good humored. We're all hearing the jokes that are being aimed at them. They get a chance to retaliate. I mean, of course, like you could hire a writing crew and you don't even have to write anything. Basically, you just get a team together. But I always leave a roast feeling a little bit better about the person and everybody involved. So it's like, yeah, if Hollywood could roast itself or let themselves be roasted, it's like, okay, well now at least we're all in the same reality. Like we're all seeing the same thing. We're able to laugh together. But it just seems so egotistical. Like they just don't want to be wrong or look bad.
And
or
these are
acknowledge
people who
truth.
are successful and talented and beautiful. They're often very glamorous. What are they afraid of? They're afraid of a bad joke? Really?
Yeah, it's like you guys made it. You're successful. Like you're good.
You're
yeah.
good. There's going to be a limo waiting for you outside. You're fine.
Yes.
You're going back to a mansion.
Everyone is going to be blown tonight at some point. Everyone's going to get blackout drunk, do a bunch of drugs, whatever else they want to do. Everyone looks great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There'll be a mountain of cocaine waiting in the dressing room.
Yes. Everyone gets their own pile. What's the big freaking deal? You can't handle a joke. From Silverlock, thanks for the super chat. Keep kicking butt, Chrissy. Thanks, Silverlock. Oh, because you do have silver locks. Gabriel Knight. Evangeline Lilly should do a movie with Gina Carano after Hollywood blacklist her. Yeah, I could see that. She's great. I loved her in Lost.
She's a good actress.
She's great. She's beautiful too. I mean, obviously. The Happy Plague Doctor. Chrissy, what kind of a Western movie would you write? Feel free to go full Blazing Saddles. Yeah, I would definitely do like an anti-woke thing. I think I personally enjoy picking apart like kind of like gender standards. It's fun to be like the feminist that's like, but I can't put in my own air conditioner, like like I hate men until I have to call AAA. Then I love them,
There's so much humor to be mined here, and so few people are really tackling it. So Ryan Long does a great job with that, though. He's like a one-man army against the woke.
Ryan is great. Did you mention him in your book? I mean, there's so many.
I definitely did. One of the people I mentioned as well is Tom McDonald, who's the rapper.
Yeah.
He's a fascinating guy. By the way, the worst rap name in the history of rap, but I think he owns it. It's probably his own name. So
is that his real name?
I think it might be. It
definitely sounds like I had a sports broadcasting teacher in college named Tom McDonald. I think he actually was he worked for New York One or something.
Okay.
He was an asshole. He didn't like me. I read my final to him. It was like, you have to, watch a game or something and do a broadcast. And he called it cute. And whatever. He probably was right. It probably sucked.
Yeah. But Tom McDonald is one of these guys. I mean, in a way like yourself, in a way like Ryan Long, they're kind of going around the system. Tom McDonald is his own. Doesn't have I don't think he's got a record label.
Management at all.
Independent. He's just doing it on his own. His girlfriend directs those videos, which are amazing, and they're really clever and cool and wild and crazy. And he just rises up the iTunes charts and does it by himself.
That's very impressive.
Buddy Brown did that. Buddy Brown was a country western guy. He went to Nashville like, I want to be a country western star, and they said, well, it's great, we love you, but can you tamp down the lyrics a little bit right of center? He's like, screw you, and he went and did his own on his own. Now he's a success.
Yeah, here's Tom McDonald. Wow, he's got 6 albums out. Is that true? Wow.
Quite possibly. You know, I interviewed him a while ago. He's very he struck me as very vulnerable and kind of an interesting way. Like I think he's had some dark stuff in his past. I think he's kind of overcome a lot. He's really just a genuine guy, and I'm happy.
Yeah, you don't get face tattoos unless you've been through some shit, I think. That's not just like a casual, like, I have $70. I'm kind of drunk. Yeah, wow, he's badass.
Or face tattoo?
What?
Ankle tattoo or face tattoo? It's
ankle all the way. Well, ankle, yeah, you are kind of like dating yourself as like coming of age in the 90s, but I almost got several ankle tattoos. Like I almost got maybe 4 different ankle tattoos at one point. That should be its own clip. Like the tattoos I almost got. Like I almost got like a wave, like just going around the whole thing. I almost got the symbol for like USA diving because I started diving at like 11, and it was like gave me a lot of focus. Oh my gosh, yeah, a couple of things. I just sent you Tom's latest single. Oh, Tom's latest signal. I don't know. Oh yeah, maybe I will play it. I think I spoke to him once about getting one of his songs on the show, and he said it was okay. So I don't think he's gonna copyright strike me. And if he is, then whatever. Let's listen to it. This came out, wow, just the other day, just on the 21st of January.
Here's the problem with America, the country is broken, cause they minds stay closed, but they mouths stay open. Get attacked and we blame terrorists, go broken, we blame the price, blame racists for the racism, but only if his skin is white. If we don't need guns, cause we can call the police, we don't need fire extinguishers, call a fireman, please. You didn't want to build a wall and now the border is weak. Your favorite actor has a gate that's like 15 feet. Racism is gay, if you're offended, that's retarded.
Yeah.
You're a target. If a white man paints his face black, he's a racist piece of garbage, but you put him in a dress and he's courageous and he's gorgeous. All these double standards, man, I'm tired of the noise. Freedom's an illusion if they censor your voice. Call a dad a deadbeat for neglecting his boys, but a mom kills a baby and you call it pro-choice.
Ooh.
Oh.
Have you heard this song, Christian?
No, I haven't. I know. I think it already got 3.5 million views, if not more.
So his girlfriend helps with the music videos?
Yeah, she's the director. She's amazing.
Wow.
Why they hate the flag, they try to burn it to the ground. Don't do that in front of me, I'ma let off a round. Pow, scream loud, burn the city down now. Put it on the news, make them all feel proud.
Wow, it's like if I were dissecting this song for like a college, thesis or something, I would be like, the white man is constantly chastised in 2022. He's driven to insanity here, as you can tell by the straitjacket.
I knew like 16 trigger warnings in this.
Yeah.
Election gets rigged, rights get infringed. Take this syringe, frighten your kids, show up right where you live.
Wow.
Make me want to grab a rifle and just go. You act like you're so much better.
This is actually a really good song. Like, it's not. I don't really often listen to lyrics in music generally, but I find with Tom McDonald and also Bryson Gray, I'm like actually listening to lyrics and being like, oh wow, they're like saying a lot of true things.
Yeah, and the music, the melodies are really interesting. They're kind of different. They flow from one to the next in a way that you don't often hear. He's really unique. He's got a great voice.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know who this other guy is.
I don't either.
But he's ginger, so I approve. He's got a neck tattoo.
Perceived just as much as you, but I ain't feeling guilty for something I didn't do. The system's killing everyone. It sucks, but it's true. They kill you, then they broadcast it and call it the news. Or they'll brainwash you through social media feeds. And if you disagree, delete you immediately. Make America China pretty easy to see. I will always remember the land of the free. You act like you're so much better than us. Yeah, we know that.
Wow, it's so refreshing. It's like music about the way people actually think and feel right now, not just like, and I know this is about to make me sound really old and uncool, but it's not just about like bumping and grinding and reproducing and getting baby mamas and sugar daddies, getting money, getting hoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but listen to those lyrics. He's touching on issues that we all talk about, but you don't hear anywhere. There's no what rappers are talking about that. What late night show hosts are talking about China and what's going on in the culture. It's just it's ballsy. It really is. No one's doing that.
No, mega props. I gotta get him on.
Yeah,
I think I tried once. I'll have to try again. He's very cool. I'm a big fan. It is really ballsy.
Does it make you want to get a face tattoo now, though, or
kind of? I kind of want one. If you had to get a face tattoo, Christian, what would you get?
Oh my God, I'm a Yankees fan. I got the Yankee logo. I'm not a tattoo guy, so I don't think I've ever seen a face tattoo. I saw. That's a good choice. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's a very specific look. It's like being told you have to wear the same color like every day for the rest of your life. It's like, well, some days you might not feel like having a face tattoo. Like I could understand like, yeah, you're gonna go to a concert. Yeah, that's a good time for a face tattoo. You want to look cool. Maybe you're wearing a leather jacket, some chains. But it's like, you're going to church? You're gonna hang out with your grandma? You're going to the nursing home? That's not a good time for a face tattoo.
I still regret my "Keep on Truckin'" tattoo on my back. So
do you really have one? Okay.
I'm dating myself with that reference, but so be it.
I really regret my "Hang in there" tramp stamp. It's just a cat hanging on, and it looks like it's like scraping off my lower back.
See, I don't think you should regret that. That's a home run.
I also regret the tattoo that says, "If you're back here, I must really like you."
You don't have much space left in your back.
Oh, there's not. There's maybe room for just one more. And it's maybe don't tread on me.
That's right.
Well, if you're back here, you're probably treading on something, though. I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, I wish if they had like 6-month tattoos or like 3-month tattoos, I would be down for that.
Yeah.
Like 1 month, sure. Why not?
Chrissy, I think one of the last times we spoke, you mentioned that sometimes you get grief from fellow comedians when they're looking to cancel you or kind of call you out. Or is that getting any better, or is that still the same?
That is getting better because I find that like my whatever posse tribe, my people, my squad, like who I'm assembling to like people that I want to work with in the future.
Yeah.
We're all kind of like-minded, and they're not necessarily all comedians anymore. Like I think I used to look for a lot of support and validation just from comedians because that's who I started out with. That was all who I knew when I was like an open micer and starting to do produce shows and starting to get in clubs. It's like that's all you know because I wasn't going to be hanging with my like day job friends. It's like you want to get away from those people as soon as possible. So, but now that I've done this podcast now for I think like almost 2 years. My Compound Media podcast. I now do Friday Night Tights on Fridays with the Geeks and Gamers guys and Nerdrotic, and they're kind of more from like the gaming movie, like that kind of world, like maybe more like nerd kind of world. But we all have the same values, and it's like you can find like funny, like-minded people that are not like necessarily comedians, and that's what I've been finding.
They have your attitude back.
Oh, absolutely, and I absolutely have their back, and like we all kind of like, loyalty is like kind of you find people with shared values, and it's like of course like the Compound Media guys, like I always have their back as well, but it's nice when you can find like pockets of the internet, and it feels so weird being like, these are my internet friends.
Well,
but
they are, they're taking care of you. And by the way, we're dealing with bullies, and bullies don't like to get punched back in the nose. So if you can kind of get some people on your side, It sends a message. That's what it's one of the big things that's going on in the culture is that they want to pick on you. They want that. No one picks on Adam Carolla now. No one. He doesn't get
Right? Isn't that interesting?
Because he kept punching
yeah.
back so hard. They don't want to even go near him. They gave up on him.
He doesn't give a fuck. That's great. Like I want to be like him when I grow up. I mean, like not as short of haircut, but
That's right.
not planning on transitioning.
That would not be a good look on you, Chrissy.
No, it wouldn't. I don't have the head for it. So yeah, and I think maybe I'm saying this too soon, but I feel like the cancel mob has backed off, or at least they've backed off for now. I think I'm starting to give off the feeling that I don't give a fuck, and I'm like, bring it. I'll never apologize for a joke. In fact, I'll double down.
Good.
So
yeah, I think culturally, I think there have been moments where there've been some wins lately. When Netflix stood by Dave Chappelle, that was a win. Spotify
he was too profitable not to. I mean, that would have been
but
silly.
They can still buckle. They can still. It's not always about money.
That's true.
I point out the Roseanne situation when they got rid of Roseanne over that one ugly tweet. She was a cash cow for that network.
Yeah,
that show was making good coin, and they threw it all away.
That's crazy. I can't believe that happened. I think she must have been like the sacrificial cow. What is the phrase? They made an example of her. Yeah.
You're fat shaming her.
I am. I was trying not to call her a cow, but come on, she's Roseanne. Oh wait, here's a good. Yeah, that show. I mean, they had recently brought it back. They did the whole, what was it, the Carters?
The Connor, and it's still alive, but barely. But it wasn't making the ratings. That Roseanne reboot was huge, and they could have rode that for 3, 4, 5 years and made a ton of money.
Wow.
But ABC said no. We'll give up all that money because we want to fire her for one ugly, gross tweet.
I don't even remember what the tweet was.
She compared Valerie Jarrett, who was with the Obama administration, to someone from the Planet of the Apes. Allegedly, you didn't know that she was a black person, which she is.
Okay.
I don't defend the tweet at all. It's kind of gross. It's but it's a tweet. It's a comment.
Yeah.
And it's just one thing. And she apologized right away, and she felt terrible about it. And you shouldn't have your career wiped away for something like that. You just shouldn't.
No, especially someone like her who you think is like pretty established.
Oh, and she broke boundaries for women with that show in the 80s. And she would go out of her way. Norm Macdonald said this. She would go out of her way to hire minority women to be on the writing staff.
Wow.
Of her show.
And see, none of that matters.
None of that matters. Yeah. Isn't that more important than a tweet?
Right. You're not looking at the whole of who a person is. You're not looking at their behaviors, their history. It's really disgusting. Yeah. From Joe Flink, Chrissy, you're onto something. Tattoo Trial Inc. Yeah.
I like it.
Start a business. Yeah. Oh, Valerie Jarrett side by side. Okay. What is this? Oh, are you kidding me? Okay, this is.
Don't show that.
Is it bad?
I'm just assuming.
No, Frank is giving me the thumbs up, and he is my producer.
Okay.
I think he'll be okay. I don't think this is gonna make you look bad, Christian.
No, I don't care about me. I care about you.
Oh, care about me. This is from Larry Elder. Real Donald Trump should prove he wasn't the spawn of his mother having sex with an orangutan. Oh, Bill Maher said this on the Tonight Show in 2013. And then he added Roseanne makes the same joke about Obama aide Valerie Jarrett, and Barr's show gets canceled. Double standard. Oh my God, she really does look like her. All right, this is actually a lot more better and nuanced than I thought. Mm-hmm. Like I was picturing something that looked like pretty racist, and this is like. First of all, if you had just told me this was a person, I'd be like, "Oh, this is a person." And that's this monkey person is a white person in monkey face.
Tim Burton's wife.
Tim Burton's wife. Interesting.
Oh yeah, Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I think they should have shown this image instead of, because when you look at this and you don't really know what you're looking at, you're like, "Oh yeah, I see similarities. Kind of the hair."
Well, it's the whole ape thing compared to a
of course, it's like a no-no. It's like
no-go zone.
A classical racist-ish racial. It's racial humor. I don't know.
Yeah.
I understand it though, but that's kind of funny. Wow. I'm excited for this book, Christian. I'm really excited that you are you thinking about ideas for your next book, or you're just
Oh
gonna
God, no!
let this one live? Yeah.
I'm never doing this again.
No? Why?
I don't know. We'll see how the sales go. But I'm really busy on a day-to-day basis, and I like doing my website, my podcast, and all the stuff I do. And this was like just top of mind, so it just felt natural. So if there's another topic that I thought was equally natural and equally organic, I
Yeah.
get it. But I don't know. Yeah, I wrote a book.
That's kind of I think where you want to be. If you have something that really fires you up, that
Yeah,
feels like this needs to be said, then you do it. But you're not going to be like, I'm not going to write a book just to write a book, because there's so many books out there that are kind of like vanity pieces or don't really need to be written. What was the hardest part, or the most like pain in the ass part of putting this together?
I tend to write in short bursts. Like I'll write 500 words or 600 words, and these chapters are like maybe 6, 7, 8,000 words.
Oh wow.
That felt weird to me. Like it's not my normal rhythm, and just making sure it all worked together. Like just reading it again and again and again and again. But then you get blind to your mistakes, and
Yeah.
so it was. I mean, I could have done self-publishing, but it was nice to have a publisher to kind of have multiple people look at it and give it an objective point of view. So that was kind of cool.
That's what I've heard. It's good to have a publisher for the first one, and then then it tends to go better if you want to do independent for like the second one but whatever. This is great. Like, this is amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to read this. I'm just checking through the chat to make sure nobody else had any more questions for you. The companies fear the Twitter mob because they fear the investors at the board meetings. They only fear stock loss. If there was no fear of that, they wouldn't care about this. True.
It's all about fear.
Fear is a powerful motivator. Yes, and you can pick up pick up the book here at Amazon. Virtue Bombs by Christian Toto. No relation to the band.
None at all. Or the toilets.
The toilets?
Yeah, there's Toto toilets.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh my God. When I put my name,
you have one?
No, I don't have one, but they're all everywhere.
I want to get famous enough to send you a Toto toilet.
I'm sure they're high-end toilets, so you'll be your bottom will be in good comfort with it. That's a free plug for a company I have nothing to do with.
I know. You're too good to them.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you and follow you, Christian?
Well, my main hub is my website. It's hollywoodintoto.com, TOTO. On Twitter, I'm at hollywoodintoto, and then my podcast is Right on Hollywood. So keeping that brand consistent.
I love it. You're a delight. I love talking to you always. I just think the world of you. I hope this book totally blows up and you're forced to write another one. Thanks, Christian. Thank you, chat, for your comments and questions as always. Oh, yeah, this is a plug for the toilets. Ready to go. Get your Toto toilets here, totousa.com. Interesting.
I wish I was making it up.
That's really funny. That's cool. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.